Michael Chernow, so good to have you here.
So good to be here, man. Really excited. We've been talking about this for a while.
Forever. I wanted to do this episode, I think last December, and I was traveling back then, didn't have stable internet connection, and super happy. Here we are. We made it.
Yeah, man. Let's do this.
Yeah, let's do this. Where are you calling from? New York City.
Yeah, I am not only in New York City, I am like truly I am in the center of New York City, the absolute heart of New York City in Times Square, where
Wow.
the studio is, where
Wow.
I use yeah, it's a very, being born and raised in New York City. When you're from Manhattan, you typically don't spend a lot of time in Times Square just because it's so intense and typically just it's very tourist centric. So unless you're a tourist or going to work in a restaurant in Times Square, there's a lot of restaurants here. Or if you're a tourist or you're going to a Broadway show, typically when you're from New York City, you kind of stay away. And but I've spent more time here because of the studio, and it's real. It's just like such a. It's actually like a pretty incredible incredible interaction every time I walk from the train right through Times Square and I just see how many people are running around excited to
But
be in New York.
I know that you live a little bit outside of New York City, right?
Hmm.
Like, so you go
No, I do.
there every day?
No, I come here. I come to the studio once a month.
All right.
I come to the city probably twice a month, but I come to shoot in the studio for my podcast once a month, and I basically spend a full day here, and I line up a bunch of
Got it.
great
Got
guests.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I personally I listened to so many podcasts of yours. Watched a lot of YouTube, social media, just everything. For those who don't know you, who are you in like 30 seconds?
Yeah, I'm a father, which is my number one absolute most cherished accomplishment, being a father of two boys that I love more than anything, and I believe love me back equally as much. I'm a husband to my wonderful, amazing, super supportive wife, Donna Chernow. I am um, I'm passionate about movement and fitness, and then ultimately I'm an entrepreneur. I've opened, I've founded, launched, sold, and built a number of businesses.
Yeah, I love that he said you're a father first, and not he said, "Oh, I'm an entrepreneur." Like this says something about you. That's cool, super cool. And I don't know whether you knew, but we have quite a few things in common. Like, so we're both fathers, right? We're both entrepreneurs. We are in the fitness space. We have both a brand that starts with K, Creators of Habits and Catalyst. We do both podcasting. We have our own journal, right? We have our own sleep aid supplement. We are both super handsome, I would say.
Let's take it.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I mean, dude, we have an enormous amount in common. You're also a part of Creatures of Habit, right? So it's not like we only, I mean, you are involved in Creatures of Habit, which is amazing. You've invested in Creatures of Habit. You believe in the brand. And so I'm super grateful for that. You know, we have a lot in common. And I think the beauty of you and I getting together here is like, what does that say to everybody listening? You and I are from totally different places in the world. We are dreamers and proactive human beings. So you could be a dreamer and non proactive and never get anywhere. Or
Yep.
you could be like you and I, where we're dreamers and we take action and get anywhere you want to go, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I wish I could say I play at your level already, but I'm not there yet, right? I mean, you're having so much success, like in business with the two restaurants. Uh, what is it? Meatball Shop and what is the other one? Seamores,
Seamores.
right?
Hmm.
Yeah. In fitness, you're like an IFBB pro, I believe. Is that
I'm
correct?
a OCB pro.
All right. What's
Yeah.
that? Oh,
So OCB is it's a natural organization,
okay.
um, and but I'm actually I've decided to take a step out of bodybuilding. Took a step out of competing in bodybuilding
No.
about a year ago, and now I'm full throttle CrossFit guy.
Let's talk about that in a second. What I wanted to say also is that you're having this sweet little family, and I assume you're doing pretty well financially as well. but it hasn't always been this way, right? Like on your podcast, um, you're telling about your journey and that you're at some point you were a drug addict, you were a dealer. I remember you saying that you had suicidal thoughts. My question here: how did you go from A to B, and what role played fitness in all of this?
Well, I think I used to think that people that delve into alcohol and drug abuse were sort of predisposed, born with like this gene that drives them to want to escape. And though there may be some validity there, I actually don't know the truth. I don't think anybody really knows the truth. But there's a guy named Dr. Gabor Mate that I've done a lot of listening to over the last few years. And he basically says that every single human being that is driven to escape through substance or sex or food or shopping or gambling or escapism is propelled from trauma of some
Mm-hmm.
sort, some sort of trauma. And so I had a lot of trauma growing up in my life. In I had a really rough relationship with my father that ultimately just instilled fear in me from a very, very early age of male authority. I wanted nothing to do with it. I wanted nothing to do with my father. I wanted nothing to do with like anybody who would say no to me. I wanted nothing to do with authority. I was insanely rebellious. And so once I got to a certain age, I took it. I was out. I left my parents' house, and I was a young teenager running the streets of New York, and I was drawn to escaping through drugs and alcohol. It was like literally, I say that fitness saved my life once I was ready to change, but before fitness, really, drugs and alcohol did save my life because, as you mentioned, I was in around 12 years old, I hated myself. I wanted to die. I don't know if I really would have actually killed myself, but I was admitted to a mental institution for attempted suicide at 12. And so,
But just that I get it right, this was like at 12 years old when you would like do drugs and when you would deal drugs,
no, I
or
started using drugs when I was 12, 13, and then
that's crazy.
dealing drugs at like 14. Yeah.
Crazy. Oh wow.
Um, but I had to go through everything I went through to get to where I am today. And I don't regret a single second of it. I really don't. I'm grateful for my father and the trials and tribulations and hardship and challenge that man forced me to go through, because who knows, right? Like I am so happy in my skin today. I'm so grateful
Mm,
for the life I have today. I really am, and I'm not saying that
mm,
with a like toting a trophy around. I'm saying that because I genuinely am, because I know what it feels like to not be. And I don't know if I'd be here had I not gone through the mud,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Like, I don't
Hmm.
know if it would be the same. I don't know if I'd have the
Hmm.
same loving, supportive, amazing wife. I'll be celebrating in a couple of days, we'll be celebrating 16 years of marriage. Of marriage. We've been
Crazy,
together 18
crazy.
years. Like who would have ever thought, right? I'm not an old guy. But I spent half my life with this woman who I love. Like, and if you took a snapshot of my childhood, you would never ever be able to, like, looking at what it was, like looking at the sort of the blueprint that I was given, what a marriage should be. You would never say that this is what this
Mm,
guy's life is going to look like.
no, no.
And so I guess what that's all to say is like, how did I go from A to B? Well, drugs and alcohol saved my life, then they almost killed me, and then fitness came to the rescue. And I was saved by the desire to want to change,
Mm,
because that is absolutely necessary. Like anybody who's listening to this, who's dealing with some sort of addiction, some sort of a rut, some sort of a dark place that they're in, I'm just here to tell you that like fitness isn't going to save your life unless you actually want to change. right? Like you
Yeah.
can't still want to smoke crack, but think going to the gym is going to change that, right? You have to want to stop,
Yeah.
using drugs and drinking alcohol and doing the thing that is killing you or the thing that is making you hate yourself. You have to genuinely want to stop doing that, and then and only then can the doors open for other things to come in
Obviously.
and give you an opportunity to sink your teeth
Yeah.
into.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, I find it so super cool that you say you had to go through all these difficult times, but you don't regret it because it's kind of shaped you. It's like who you are now, right? It helped you to go from A to B to push through and to go, uh, yeah, overcome all these obstacles. And in my situation, I mean, my story is so different. Um, I was like born and raised in Switzerland, like very regular life, and then I fell in love with a Brazilian in Australia. We had like this long distance relationship, and all out of a sudden we found out we were going to be parents, right? And so here I am. So what I'm going to do now, right? And so I'm leaving everything behind, literally everything, and just flying out to Brazil with all my stuff. And there I am, completely lost. Cannot speak the language. Like I don't have like the visa, nor a car, nor apartment. Don't know anybody. And this is so difficult this time, right? The challenge of my life, and like I couldn't sleep at night. I had that mad anxiety and everything. But I also say, man, if I wouldn't have all these challenges there, I probably wouldn't be here because it made me go or start this journey of entrepreneurship, building my own business. And now what they're doing now, the digital nomad lifestyle, I don't think I would be here now if I wouldn't have faced this challenge.
I, I
So I think there's another similarity there.
I couldn't agree more. I think there is never a moment in time that I am cruising. I'm not saying that because I want to be one of these guys. I'm not David Goggins, right? Like I'm not telling anybody here to go, run 500 miles with broken knees. But I am telling you all from my personal experience that having challenges, self-inflicted, difficult obstacles to face on a regular basis keeps us alive and on our toes. And
Yeah.
without
100%.
without hills to climb, you never get to the top.
Yeah.
Like think about
Yeah.
that, right? Like without mountains to scale, there's no summiting. It's just flat. So if there's nothing in front of you that you are looking up at, build it. Build it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Build it. That's the way.
You have
That's
to
the,
go out of comfort. Yeah. Then this is when growth happens.
and I
100%.
think the greatest way to do that. I mean, obviously, like I've created these mountains, right? Where I wanted to open my own business, so I put the Meatball Shop in front of me, and it was this big, huge, scary mountain. It's the first time I ever created a business, a legitimate business. But I was looking up this big, steep, scary hill, and I just said, "Fuck it, I'm going to throw on my gear, and I'm gonna learn as I go, and I'm gonna climb, and I'm gonna fall, and I'm
Mm,
gonna climb, and I'm
mm,
gonna fall, and sooner or later I'm gonna feel like I have a little bit more of a sturdy harness, and
mm.
the ropes that are carrying me are a little bit stronger, and I'm gaining a little bit more confidence, and then and the next one I felt like I could lead climb a little bit more, and I didn't have to have the ropes for the first half of it, and then boom, all of a sudden I hit another
Mhm,
plateau
mhm.
where I was like, holy shit, like I feel good, but I've never done that before. And I started looking up again. I put the ropes back on, and I said, hey, I need some help. Can you
Mm,
guys come and help me? And
mm, mm.
and so it is. I always do believe that, like, building, if there's not a mountain in front of you to climb, you've got to build it.
You got to
And
build it. Is this
yeah.
also the reason why you didn't stop after your first restaurant? Because you were successful, obviously, and you probably could have just laid back and said, "Okay, I've done pretty decent because like I was a drug addict. Now I'm a successful business owner. Cool, right?"
Yeah,
Was
I mean,
this the
look,
drive?
I think my wife would probably want me to be a little less adventurous in the business world because you're right. I could have literally just opened up one or two meatball shops a year for the next God for the rest of my life, and slowly built a business and one or two restaurants, and then found a team to hire around me, and then ultimately could have just been chilling potentially. But I really do love building mountains.
That's
I
so
like
cool.
I like
So
building
cool.
mountains because I feel like I always am. There's always, not only do I love building mountains for myself and the challenge, but I do it on a daily basis, and I do it through cold plunge, and I do it through, um, you know, longer meditations now, like giving myself always trying to increase the push myself as
Mm,
far as I can go, or not necessarily as far as I can go every single day, but certainly giving myself a challenge to face every single day,
no,
specifically in the
no.
beginning of the day, and that helps me be more conditioned to want to push harder in my life long term.
Are you never afraid that you want to climb too many mountains at the same time?
I would like to tell you that I'm one of these guys that believes in the do one thing, do it really, really well, focus, 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 blinders. The truth of the matter is that maybe that's true. Maybe that's right. Maybe that's true. But that's not me. I like to do a couple of different things.
Mm,
For me, the way I stay focused is when I have one big main project, and then a few other little things that I can just like sort of dip in and out of. Like my life. Let's talk about my business life is 98% creatures of habit right now, and it will be for the next 4 years most likely,
no.
right? Three to 4 years, depending on how fast we scale the company. But there's also other things that are part of my life that are involved my personal brand that ultimately drive attention to my business, right?
Yep.
And so me, I love. I'm an athlete. I've always had a personal brand. So other brands that I love to work with me. They like to
Yep.
they want to use me as a representation of their brand as well. And what does that do? That ultimately opens up their communities to my communities, and my community is creatures of habit.
No.
So for me, I'm saying to myself, man, like if I can connect with all these great brands that I genuinely love working with, I use every day, and I'm now exposed to these communities, well then creatures of habit is going to benefit from all of that, right? So I enjoy having a few different things
Mm,
happening at all times. But as I've gotten a little older, I've also gotten very, very good at drawing boundaries, which I think is
mm,
super important to talk about. Drawing boundaries is like, that's when I feel like you have leveled up in life and also in business. Because for years, there was no cap to the day. There was no, this is when I start, this is when I end. It was just like,
no.
it's just like around the clock. And I gave the impression to the people that worked with me and the people that I was working with that like I was just available
Mm,
constantly. You
mm.
could call me anytime, you can text me anytime, you can email me anytime, and I'm going to get back to you, boom, just like that.
This guy has
Fi
this problem right now. Yeah. Just
Yeah,
day and night.
so what I've learned is if I train people to conduct that way with me, meaning I respond immediately and then I expect them to respond immediately. Ultimately, what that does is if I want to take a break, it puts me in a bad place, right? Because I'm like,
Yep.
oh no. So, what I've learned to do over the last about a year and a half is I draw a line, hard, sand. I separate at 5:30, which is the first time in my life that I've ever been able to do this. At 5:30 in the evening, it's done. I close
No.
the computer
Cool. No.
and
Cool.
I shut it down. That doesn't mean that I don't ever get back to it at night because sometimes, after the kids are down, I will open up the email and bang out some emails, maybe between 8 and 9. But most of the time I don't. And that has been like an unbelievably refreshing, totally different way of doing business for me, because now I feel like I've got some freedom. Like the whole purpose of being, like, we think entrepreneur, oh, you're going to start your own business. You've got freedom now. Oh, I don't have to answer to anybody. I don't have a boss. I don't have hours. I don't, and the truth of the matter is, it could not be more the opposite. It's totally the opposite.
100%.
You are
Yeah,
not
yeah,
free. You are
yeah.
not free. You are completely 100. The success is 100% contingent on your performance. Done. It has nothing to do with anybody else, because
True. Very true.
everybody that you hire is a reflection of your ability to hire, right? Like, if they're not doing well and you're the CEO of the company, it's because you hired the wrong person, not because they suck, you know? And so, like, there's not much freedom in being an entrepreneur until you get comfortable enough drawing boundaries.
Hmm.
And that's where I finally have found, like, this really amazing phase of my career where I have time blocking throughout the day, and at 5:30 at night I go from business dude to dad husband.
Hmm.
Done. That's just it.
Hmm. That's super cool. I need to work on that personally. I have a little bit of a problem because I'm an online fitness coach. My clients, everyone I ask, or all the testimonials, they always say, Martin is so quick in responding. That's good. However, this puts me under pressure, right? Now I think, oh, I need to respond all the freaking time. So when I onboard new clients, I tell them, okay, these are the times. Don't expect an answer from me during the weekends or at night. Sometimes I still do it, right? And that gives me like the thumbs up. Awesome. But again, I need to be very careful that they don't expect it again. Does it make sense?
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I think being in the service industry is, you're essentially, you're trading time for capital. It's hard business, no matter what service it is, right? Especially if it's high touch like what you're doing. Um, but I'm sure that there's ways to potentially automate some of the communication with your clients, right?
I also think nobody would get mad if I responded 12 hours later. It's really just the pressure that I'm by myself, right? That I feel like, oh, I need to respond because I need to be a good coach. But I mean,
Have you
nobody's
ever
going to
written an
die.
email to ever? Have you ever? How many clients do you have?
I have about 70-ish.
That's amazing. Congratulations, dude. That's huge. That's huge. Have you ever thought about, like, taking the bull by the horns and writing an email to all of your clients and saying, "Hey, everybody, I just want to tell you how awesome I feel to know that I'm coaching you. You guys make me feel incredible about my life, and I'm super grateful for you. I want to take a step in a direction that I think is going to ultimately help me and you, but I want to be able to draw boundaries in my in my communication." And so, instead of getting right back to you, which I know that you've all been accustomed to, I'm going to try to start giving myself a little bit more of a boundary lifestyle.
Mm.
And if I don't get right back to you, just know that I will be in touch with you within 8 hours or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. They won't have any problems like at all. They will be very understanding and like I mean, when you first started out, you probably had this as well. When you go on vacation, then you also think, man, the business is no longer going to be there when I return. And then once you actually do it, you see, oh, actually, it's all still there. So nothing happened, right?
Totally.
But yeah, it probably takes time. Takes time. Michael, I want to talk with you about routines and habits. I mean, your brand is called Creatures of Habits. Why are habits so important to you?
I believe that the key to confidence, which is what we all need to succeed, is discipline and commitment. That's the key, I think. I've been speaking a lot about this commitment and discipline are pretty much, they're very, very similar, right? Like commitment and discipline, you can't commit without discipline, and discipline
Mm,
requires commitment.
mm,
So they're kind of like the same thing. And ultimately, when you can consistently commit with discipline, it builds confidence.
yeah.
And the more you do that on a daily basis, the more confidence you build.
Yep.
And confidence ultimately inspires courage. And
Yep.
courage is typically required for to accomplish anything great, right? Like
Yeah.
nobody writes history books about leaders that didn't use courage as their asset, right? Like
True.
courage is typically the catalyst to like most things great. And so habits for me have been a way to, on a daily basis, build this commitment, confidence, courage pyramid every day,
Yeah.
right? It
Mm,
starts with the bottom layer of the foundation is commitment, and then confidence, and then ultimately the peak is courage, which gives you the ability to take a risk, jump off the cliff, open a business,
yep.
run the marathon, uh, ask her to marry you, have the kid, have the second kid, have the third kid, you know.
You can also turn it around, right? If you commit but you don't push through, you don't have discipline, then what happens with confidence? You will not come
Right.
anywhere. And that's a problem for a lot of people. For a lot
Right.
of
So
people.
commitment, right. So commitment on its own, I think, is like step one, but commitment and discipline really do need to work together, right? And
Yeah.
so, we've heard a lot like over the last year or so. Motivation isn't really what it is, right? Like motivation is not going to get you, to the top of the mountain. Although I do think motivation is I don't think that there's anything wrong with motivation. I'm not one of these guys that says, "Oh, fuck motivation, motivational speakers." Like I was at an event a couple weeks ago and I heard this guy Jesse Itzler speak, and he was unbelievable. It was unbelievable listening to him speak. It was like such a performance, and I was like, "Man, this guy, he was unbelievable. It was really, really incredible to listen to this guy speak. He's a motivational speaker. He's trying to get people up." That said, similar to using drugs and alcohol, like there can be 1,000 people that love you around you telling you, man, like you've got so much to offer, man. All you got to do is just stop doing it. Like we love you. You're killing us. We love you. Please stop. They're trying to motivate you to just like want to quit. If you don't
Mm,
stop it, it doesn't
mm,
matter what they say. It doesn't matter what they say. So I
yeah.
think the reason why I use these habits every single day and I do them day in and day out are because
Tell me about them. What are your non-negotiables? What do you do every single day?
so I have non-negotiables and then I have like my ideal scenario when I'm like not traveling and I'm at home. My non-negotiables every single day, like I'll give you for instance, this morning I woke up in a hotel room, right? And so what I did this morning was I woke up early. So I tend to wake up around 5:15 in the morning, is like probably my sweet spot. And I open my eyes, I look up at the ceiling and I smile. I smile from ear to ear. It's a very easy thing to do. Like philosophically, it's hard to do physically. It's hard to do physically. It's hard to throw a huge smile on your face first thing in the morning because I think we as human beings for thousands of years have been conditioned to be in our cortisol levels are through the roof right when we wake up. It's fight or flight.
Mm,
Like we're conditioned to like we need to provide for our family. We need to protect from the saber-toothed tiger. We need to protect and hunt as as human beings. Like that's what
yeah.
we have to do. So like we've been conditioned to have anxiety like almost immediately when we wake up. So I have tried to
Yeah.
condition myself over the last 3 or 4 years that I've been doing that to kick that anxiety's ass immediately and smile. So I smile first thing in the morning and I hold that smile and I go into a gratitude list. So I go into like an immediate mental gratitude list, and I'm just firing shit off. I'm like, I'm grateful for the wife that's sleeping next to me. I'm grateful for my kids. I'm grateful for the house. I'm
Mm.
grateful for my health. I'm grateful for fitness. I'm grateful for commitment. I'm grateful for my dog, that he loves me and I love, I just like go through this long list of shit that changes, right? Like some days, but I'm just trying to
Yeah.
pack in as much shit to like really
Mhm.
make me believe that the life that I have is awesome. And first thing in the
Yeah.
morning. And so that's how I kick off my morning. And then I hop out of bed. I don't like slowly like mosey around and shit. I like sit up with intention. I throw my feet on the ground. I get up. And typically, I will go right into the bathroom. I will brush my teeth. I will wash my face. And I will then hit my knees. And I have a prayer practice that I've been doing for many years, many, many years.
Are you religious?
I'm not religious. I mean, I don't know. I didn't grow up in a religious household. Maybe if I did, I would be. I'm very, very connected with God. Very connected with a power greater than
Mm.
myself. I believe in energy, in universal energy, and I have very, very strong faith. And so I don't belong to any organized religion, if that was the question. But I am incredibly connected with God.
Mm.
And so
Makes sense.
I pray every morning. I ask for guidance. I ask for help. I ask for the universe to bring awesome things to everyone I love and everyone who I struggle with as well. And I don't ever ask for anything personally. I don't ever ask for, like, even if I'm dealing with something incredibly hard that is going to require a lot of strength to get through. I don't ask for help to get through that. I just ask for strength, you know?
Mm.
And so I do that. And then right after my prayers, I go into I do 50 push-ups every morning. Um, and
Why just 50? You could probably do 150.
because,
That's the
well,
reason?
I do 50 push-ups straight. And I've basically, I'm not trying to work out. I'm just trying to, like, get the blood flowing, get a good feeling in my chest and my back. And if I can do 50 push-ups straight for the rest of my life, I will be a very happy human being, right? And so I've given myself
Cool.
50 because I feel like 50 is a strong number for most people to do 50 straight push-ups, but not. I mean, I could probably do 85 or 90, right? If I
Mm.
pushed
Mm.
pushed it hard. I'm not trying to
Yeah.
do that every morning. I'm
Yeah.
trying to give myself 50,
Got it.
50 push-ups, get some blood flowing, feel strong, and then I go into a stretch practice. I do like probably 5 minutes down dog, up dog, cat cow, and those are my absolute non-negotiables. And then I drink a bunch of water, as much water as I can find around me, and I get on with my day. And those are like just non-negotiables. Of course, fitness.
Do you ever miss? Do you ever miss like those
No, those I
non-negotiables?
never ever 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 miss.
Let's say your sons are sick or something, and you didn't sleep all night. You had to be with them all night long, and you're just like super tired. What do you do in such a situation? You just push through the morning routine.
I mean, that what I just described to you is like a 15-minute, 10, 15-minute thing.
Yeah,
I can't think of a day that I've missed that, no matter what's going on in my
nice,
life. My
cool,
typical
cool.
morning routine, the morning routine that I do 5, 6 days a week, because I'm typically home most of the time, is a lot more extensive than that. And
Has like 27
it's got a lot of
a
stuff.
list of 27 items,
Yeah, it's
right?
got a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah.
stuff.
I heard that.
But I do it. I do it before my whole family gets up. So that's the sacrifice that I make because I know people are like, oh, why do you do all that stuff? It's so much, and I'm like, I do it because I like it. I like it. It makes me
Mm.
feel good. Like
Makes you feel good. Yeah.
that's just it. It makes me feel good. And if these things stacked up on top of each other are could potentially make me a 0.5% better every day. They tend to make me way more than that, but even just a tiny bit better. Why wouldn't I do it? Why wouldn't I?
Yeah, yeah.
I want to show
Fair
up.
enough.
I want to show up as my best version every day, mainly for my family, but you know, I want to be the best version of myself. I want to have
Love
fun. I
it.
want to have fun
Absolutely
in
love it.
life. I want to have fun in life.
Awesome. Really love that. Really love that. Coming back to the brand Creatures of Habit and your first product, Meal One, um, pitch the listeners. What is it and why should they use it?
Sure. So I am obviously a creature of habit. We're talking about habits. Habits have really shaped the life that I lead today. My habits used to almost kill me. And the habits that I've conducted over the last 18 years have really made me the guy I am. I'm 42 years old, and I'm arguably in the best shape of my life. I've been in the same shape for
42. I thought you're like
no, I'm
38.
42.
I thought I would.
I'm
Okay.
42,
Wow.
and so when I made the decision to get sober, a couple of guys came into my life immediately, and they basically
Dude, wait. You're 12 years older than me. How is this possible?
no,
Okay, go on.
yeah, dude, you
Mind
got you
blowing.
got
Okay.
you.
I wanna look like you. I wanna look like you when I'm 42.
um, No, no,
Sorry.
that's
Go
fine.
on.
Thank you very much. I mean, that makes me. I'm very happy to hear that. I love when people say that. But these couple of guys came into my life, and they really taught me. They taught me a new way to live, and it really came through a sober community. But I think more importantly at that time in my life, fitness and nutrition. And the first thing they told me to eat every single day was oatmeal. And I was just like, whatever it takes. Like just tell me what to do, and I'm going to do it. So I've been eating oatmeal for many, 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 many years. Is the first thing I put into my body every single day to this very day. Literally, I mean, before here, it's
Did you add a scoop of protein
so
back
well
then?
back then. It took years to develop the formula that we know now as Meal One, but probably about 6, 7 years in is when I started adding protein to my oats. And so I didn't know what I was doing. Like I used to try to add it when I was cooking the oats, and it'd get clumpy and weird. Anyway, I've about
Mm.
for probably about 10 years, I had this formula that I was making every single day, and I was cooking my oats with chia seeds, flax seeds, pumpkin seeds, and pink Himalayan salt, and I was fluffing them and cooking them, and it took me 15 minutes to get it to the right consistency. And then as soon as I felt like the oats were done, then I was dumping in protein powder, and I was slowly mixing that. And then on the side of that, I would have my probiotic, my digestive enzymes, my vitamin D3, and my omega-3 fatty acids. And so that was my morning setup every single day. I would have my oats, my oatmeal, and I would have my supplements. And when I
Mm.
knew that I was going to create my next brand, I knew it was going to be in the world of wellness. I knew that I didn't want to be in the restaurant space, at least for this phase of my life. I wanted to have a little bit more time with my family, to be honest with you. And so I said I'm going to create a wellness brand. And I was on a run upstate New York, and I was like, what am I going to do? And then it just came to me. I was like, I've been eating this. This is the first thing I've put into my body every single day for almost
Yeah.
2 decades. It is delicious. It is the like perfect macro split, especially for active human beings. And I began the process of creating Meal One. So Meal One, for anybody that doesn't know what it is and who's listening, is a blend of gluten and glyphosate-free oats. It's got 30 grams of plant-based protein in it, pea protein. It's made with chia seeds, flax seeds, pumpkin seeds, and pink Himalayan salt for electrolytes. It's got 2,000 IU of vitamin D3. It's got 300 milligrams of omega-3 fatty acid. It's got an incredible probiotic and digestive enzymes. And you make it overnight. You can also make it hot or in a smoothie, but it's made best overnight. You just literally pour a pouch into a jar, add some water or almond milk or oat milk or whatever milk you want to add to it. You mix it up, you throw it in the fridge, and in the morning it's ready to go. And it is a full, satiating, incredibly delicious, perfect meal to start your day.
It is. So when I started my fitness journey, I always had oats in the morning, also with whey, and I agree it's a bit eh, hit or miss because depending on how much water you take and how much powder, and sometimes it's good, sometimes not so much. Um, and then when I tried your product, what was super cool, what I didn't know until then, um, you put in some seeds, right? And the consistency, like there's some crunchiness in it, is so amazing. I like best the caramel, what is
Maple
it, maple
caramel.
caramel or something like
Yeah.
that. It was amazing. I
Thank you,
love that
man.
one. And I like you said, like the overnight version I did. So I think I added some almond milk, stirred it up, put it in the freezer. Next day, take it out. It's so amazing. It's really
It's
freaking good. And you don't have to take the again like the vitamin D or all the other pills. Like it's all in there. It's like really really
Thank you,
good
man.
product.
Yeah, so I kind of look at it and I say, this is like it's really a one-stop shop for human beings that are not only looking to optimize their lives, but it's incredibly convenient. Like drawing a line. It's so funny. This morning I was up super early and I went to go get a cup of coffee. And I walked into a Dunkin' Donuts because that was the closest coffee spot to where I was staying downtown. I walk into
Mm.
Dunkin' Donuts and it was $3.67 for a cup of coffee at Dunkin' Donuts. And I'm saying to myself, Jesus, for less than $1 more, you get with Creatures of Habit, you get a full meal with 30 grams of protein, 35 grams of healthy complex carbohydrates, 10 grams of healthy fat, vitamin D3, omega-3 fatty acids, a probiotic that's going to help your gut, and digestive enzymes. Like you get all that for $4.25
Yep.
or a
Yep.
$3.70 cup of coffee from Dunkin' Donuts. Like
Yeah.
and
No
the
brainer,
line of
right?
people that were waiting for a cup of that coffee, I was like, "Oh my God, this is totally nuts. Like this is
Crazy.
totally crazy." Yeah.
Absolutely crazy. We need to find a way to ship it to Switzerland because I have so many clients. I know so many people who, they don't want to take time to prepare something in the morning, but they want to eat something healthy and they need to,
Well, eventually,
know.
eventually we'll be able to ship internationally. Right now, unfortunately, it just costs so much. It would cost so much money to get it shipped over there. We've connected. We've opened up Canada, so that's a first step. But we're
Okay.
still young too. We're a year, and so we're in June, July, August. So we're a year and just about 10 months old. So our 2-year anniversary will be coming up on August 27th. Will be 2 years old, and we just launched our second product, which is called the Nightcap. And Nightcap is a sleep support powder that's made up of zero THC CBD. It's got GABA, L-theanine, ashwagandha, reishi mushroom, a little bit of lion's mane, magnesium, and chamomile flower extract, a little bit of MCT oil powder, and it is
It's funny.
a delicious cup of hot chocolate that you have about an hour before bed. You can also make it cold, so it's like a chocolate milk, sort of like a delicious chocolate milk. I've been having it actually cold a bunch. I just take almond milk and I shake it with almond milk, and it's insanely delicious
Mm,
as like a little
mm,
sweet tooth quencher before bed, it helps you fall asleep and stay asleep and get really good qualitative sleep.
mm.
So
Do you
I
take
take
it
it
every
every
day?
day. I take it every single night. I take it every night at 8:30, and you know,
Okay.
it's very very good.
Where do you want to go with your brand? Where do you see it like in 4 years? You said like until then you want to really scale and blow it
Yeah,
up.
I
Where
mean,
do you want
look,
to be in
the
four
goal for
years?
me is to really immerse Creatures of Habit into the world of active human beings, right? So most people that are active, I don't necessarily mean like athlete. I mean people that are just trying to be better, people that are walking 10,000 steps a day,
Mm,
people that are literally, going like
mm,
trying to be happy and healthy, right? Typically people that are trying to be happy and healthy are active human beings, and that demographic is
yeah.
growing every day. More and more people want to be healthy, and so we're hoping to immerse ourselves into those communities of people, and give them an opportunity to feel like they've got a brand that they can rely on to cover multiple touch points throughout the day in terms of nutritional habits.
Hmm.
You know, it is
Hmm.
so easy for us to indulge today. Like there is so much more shit available than good
Yep.
things, right? It's so easy. Like when
Yep.
you walk into a store and you're hungry and you need a snack, if you closed your eyes and grabbed something, chances are it's going to be shit. Chances are 9 out of 10
Yeah. Not
things.
recommended.
So that's unfortunately what we're dealing with in not only the United States but globally. Like we're dealing with that. So my goal is
Absolutely.
to just be like take a tiny percentage of the people that are looking to be better and give them a brand to rely on to say, hey, this is how you can start your day in a really, really great way and will ultimately potentially give you an opportunity to make better decisions throughout the rest of your day. And this snack that we're
Mhm.
going to give you, this is a great snack that you can rely on. You can take it with you everywhere and you don't have to worry about stopping somewhere to grab some crap. The next snack, same thing. Like the way you don't overeat, the way not to overeat is to, in my opinion, is to have a snack between lunch and dinner and a snack between breakfast and lunch. You have first meal, snack, second meal, snack, third meal. And that is a great way to refrain from having massive lunches and dinners, right? Like if you have
Mhm. Mhm.
3 to 500 calorie first meal a day, 3 to 500 calorie second meal of the day, 3 to 500 calorie third meal of the day, and then you have a 200 to 300 calorie snack, 200 300 calorie snack. Now you're at 2,000 calories a day, and you're never starving. You're never like, oh my God, I'm ravenously
Yeah.
hungry. So that's the philosophy of Creatures of Habit. We're
Yeah.
going to help you with your first meal, your first
Got
snack,
it.
your second snack, your nightcap to help you get great sleep so you're making better decisions. And that's the,
Got
that's
it.
the plan.
Yeah. No. You just explained basically why fasting sometimes does not work for some people because they fast, they're getting hungry, and they say, "Oh, I didn't have breakfast, I didn't have lunch, and now I can eat a huge portion for dinner," and it's like
I
3,000 calories, and
used to
they gain
fast,
weight.
and honestly, like I don't think that there's anything wrong with it, but I don't
Me
believe
neither.
that it is. I know it's not for me anymore. It's just not, and there's no
Yeah.
proof. Yeah,
I also don't have anything. I'm just saying, like, for some
yeah.
people, it really doesn't work because of their way of thinking, right? Um, that they end up overeating. But yeah, like I think there is some benefits to it. I mean, we don't need to go into it, but yeah, you basically explain exactly that. If you don't eat, you get hungry, and then you overeat, and yeah, then nothing with weight loss, right? Where can people buy
Creatures
it?
of Habit, yeah,
If they're in America.
creaturesofhabit.com. If you're in the United States or Canada, creaturesofhabit.com with a K. You can hop on and subscribe to Meal One and Nightcap. They're great, great, great ways to just optimize your day and make things a little bit more convenient.
Awesome. I want to quickly talk about fitness since it's a huge part of both our lives. You said before you did Muay Thai, then you went into bodybuilding. Now you might just switch into CrossFit. What made you do the switch, by the way?
I had just bodybuilding and a competitive bodybuilding is incredibly, incredibly
Unhealthy.
challenging. Yes, yes. I mean, I don't. I mean, I guess you could say yes, yes, because of the dieting. You know, like nobody should be eating 1,100, 1,200 calories a day, working out as hard as I did for 3 4 months
Agreed.
a year,
Yeah.
and so it is an unhealthy, unsustainable way to live. And it also, mental health wise, was like, like you get into this unrealistic physique, right? Where you are just, I mean, if you've seen a couple of pictures of me when I'm in stage ready shape, I am a comic book character. I'm like peeled and shredded, 3 4% body fat, like unrealistic. But you feel there's like this weird feeling of like, oh my God, I look so insane. And then also, I'm so hungry all the
Mm.
time, and I'm tired, and I'm hungry,
Irritated.
yeah,
Mm.
irritated. And so I just decided that what was I doing it for? Was I doing it to challenge
Mm.
myself? In the beginning, yes. And then ultimately, did it become sort of an obsession? It did. And so I needed to be self-aware of that and back off and say, okay,
Mm.
this is no longer like something that I feel is healthy. I'm gonna back off of this. And then I also found out that my hormone levels were completely thrown for a loop because of all the crazy dieting. Yeah.
Or
And
normal.
so,
No, no,
and I was competing
no.
naturally without any PEDs. So I my testosterone was tanked. I was terrifying. I didn't even think that I didn't know that was because I didn't feel that really. But when I got my labs done, my T
Mm.
levels were tanked. Um, and so I decided that I was like, okay, this is clearly not healthy for me. I've got to stop this and I've got to start eating like a normal human being as opposed to like overeating and then undereating and then
Yeah.
overeating and then undereating, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Same
So
history.
so then I the reason why I really stepped into CrossFit was because I wasn't sure what I was going to do next once I decided that I was no longer going to compete in bodybuilding. I got my pro card in bodybuilding. I competed as a pro. I took third in in the pro show that I competed in, and I was like, all right, I'm done. I did it. I took third place in the show. I don't need to do
Mm.
this anymore. And my team was like, dude, 30% of the people that use Meal One on a daily basis do CrossFit. We found that out. We did a deep dive, surveyed a lot of people that use Meal One,
Yeah.
and they were like, "You should start doing CrossFit and really get into that community." And I was like, "Done." So I next day walked into the closest
That's great.
CrossFit gym, and as you can see, like my hands, I am hooked on CrossFit. I love CrossFit. It's really, really hard. There's no doubt that I mean, some people are going to get mad at me for saying this, but the truth of the matter is that it is definitely a way to get hurt. Like CrossFit, if you're doing CrossFit hard, there is a lot of injury. You're prone to a lot of injury. There's no doubt about it. Like I have
Mm.
definitely had a number of injuries
Mm.
since I've started CrossFit, and you know, and that's probably has nothing to do with my coaches because I've got amazing coaches in CrossFit, but it has to do with my inability to do the speed limit. I like
Just
to
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
doing like 90 and a 35 all times, and so I need to be better at that, which I'm slowly doing. Like I've actually decided to take like 2 to 3 weeks off of CrossFit and just do yoga and stretching, because my sciatica is killing me. Um, but yeah, I love it.
Do you work out more or less now do you work out
More.
more or less now with
More.
CrossFit
Oh yeah,
than when
more,
you did
more.
bodybuilding? More.
There's so it's interesting. There's CrossFit class, and then there's CrossFit, right? Like you can join a CrossFit gym and do the classes, which for any normal
Yeah,
person is going to keep you in great shape.
yeah,
But the CrossFit
yeah.
classes are very different than like CrossFit competitive CrossFit, which is what I'm trying to do, which is like I get 6 different pieces every day: a strength piece, a gymnastics piece, a conditioning piece,
Mm.
a skills piece, a metcon, and then accessory work typically. And so I'm in the gym for 2 hours straight,
And this
five
how
days. I
many
take
days
Thursday
per
and
week?
Sunday off. Yeah.
5 days. Wow. Wow. Yeah, yeah. Those people are mad. Like we just watched like these documentaries on Netflix. There's a couple, right? And I think the newest one we watched, and
Well, there's so
so
many
impressive,
modalities that you need to
so
know for
impressive.
CrossFit. Like I've learned so much in the last 10 months of doing CrossFit. Bar muscle ups, I've learned how to do. Double unders, I've learned how to do. Olympic lifting, I'm learning how to do. Handstand walking, just so many things that are just like,
Yeah, that's cool skills.
are the things that I just hadn't done, and being an athlete for so many years, being able to like go somewhere and be humbled every single day and like really challenged and really want to
Yeah,
learn how to
yeah,
do
yeah,
something. It's
yeah.
cool.
How many ring muscle ups do you do?
No
Strict
ring
ones?
muscle ups.
What?
I haven't done a
We we
single ring muscle up.
we need to work out together.
Are you doing ring muscle ups?
I can do them. Yeah, yeah.
Awesome.
I used to be a lot of into calisthenics in
Okay.
Santa Monica at the pier, with a lot of these gymnasts and acrobats, and yeah, they taught me a lot of
That's awesome. Yeah, I haven't even attempted a ring muscle up yet.
that.
I'm scared, but
You're
I'm
scared.
yeah, I'm scared. Because I just know that, muscle ups were hard, and so, now ring muscle ups are
They're actually
next.
easier. Just technique.
Are they?
They are. The the different what I wanted to ask you also, the difference between bodybuilding and CrossFit is obviously bodybuilding you train mainly or purely for aesthetics, for how you look, and then CrossFit is all performance based. Does it also mean you don't care about how you look anymore?
No. I wish it did. I wish it did, honestly. I wish it did because if I didn't care, I'd probably be better at CrossFit. The truth is that like I'm not as lean as I was, although I'm still lean, but you
Mm,
know, like I've definitely developed the CrossFit body, which is a strong, you know, which is probably the body that most like men specifically should have, right? Which is about 10 to 12% body fat, um, and strong as shit, and able to run fast, jump high, climb ropes, carry heavy fucking things,
mm.
and doesn't really matter, you know, if you're able to see the eight pack. And
This is when you can perform, right? If you're at 5, 6, 7% of body fat, energy
no,
level
you
is so
can, yeah,
low.
there's
No.
very, very, very little ability to perform at those skills. And so, you know, I'm getting comfortable with it. It's still hard for me because I really do like being shredded is something that I enjoy being, but the truth of the matter is you know, it's challenging it's challenging to get into that crazy lean shape. For me, it's even more challenging getting comfortable being out of that shape,
Mm,
right? And
mm,
knowing that
mm.
I'm in far better condition. I'm in
I'm with
far
you on that.
better condition, you know?
Here you have performance, and then you have the aesthetics, and trying to find the balance is
It's
hard.
very hard. It's
Really
very hard.
freaking hard.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of clips on Instagram, I believe, where you just work out without the shirt. So this is another thing we have in common, I guess, that we take out our shirts. Um, Apart from the six pack, we see like all these tattoos. Do they all have meanings?
Yeah. All my tattoos have
Yeah.
I've been collecting tattoos for a really long time, and they all have a story. I mean, there's a couple of actually. I just got a cover. I just covered up one of my tattoos. That was like my first tattoo, I think. That really didn't have any
Name of the
meaning to it.
girlfriend?
No, it was just I was like 16, and I just wanted a
Mm.
tattoo. So I just kind of like walked into this place in St. Mark's Place, and I just pointed at something. And I said, "Give me that one."
Got it.
And but all the other ones have significant meanings.
Mhm.
And yeah, they're all there's all I mean, there's a lot of them, and there's a lot of stories, a lot of stories.
Awesome. Michael, I have like two or three last questions, if that's okay for you. Then we're gonna wrap it up. Actually, personal questions. One question I wrote down here is, how do you how did you get to know Gary Vee? Because I know he is like involved in the business. I know you're hanging out with him. I've saw him on your Instagram stories. How did you meet this guy?
Gary started in the wine business, and that's how he built his career. His father owned a wine store, and Gary started working in the wine store when he was young, and built his father's business to this really
Yeah.
amazing, super
Hmm.
successful company, and that's where he cut his teeth in the world of business, Gary. And so, you know, Gary obviously went on to start VaynerMedia, but he stayed connected to the wine space, and then in 2018 launched a company called Empathy Wines with a couple of friends, or a couple of people that worked with him. And Empathy Wines is a direct-to-consumer wine company. And so when he launched that, I was still running the restaurants, and I had, you know, 5 Seamores and 6
Mm,
Meatball Shops,
okay.
and I basically DM'd him and said, "Hey," and we had a bunch of friends in common, you know, in New
No.
York, and I basically said, "Hey, man, you know, I don't know if you're moving any empathy wine through restaurants, but I would love to sling some empathy through some of the restaurants." And he got back to me and he said, "Let's connect." And so he put me in touch with his
Mm,
squad, and I came to the office, and then we sat down, and Gary and I talked, and we immediately connected, like immediately, and
mm,
then he was like, "Let's get you on the podcast," and so he threw me on the podcast, and it was awesome, and then I got him on my podcast, and we just became fast friends because we think very similarly. We have a lot in common in regards to the way we move through the world. Obviously, Gary has built massive businesses, and he's one of the
mm,
most
mm,
connected guys arguably in the world today. I don't know, maybe. And so it really started through me selling empathy wine at Seamores, and we developed a relationship from there. You know, and I guess that story is a great story to for the listener, you know, like if you want to get close to somebody because you believe that that person is going to be able to add value to your life, just thinking about it isn't going to get you anywhere, right? Like I knew that I wanted to get close to Gary because I thought that he was a really cool guy and I thought that we would get along, but I also knew that this is the kind of guy that I want to surround myself with. Like I want to be around people
Yeah.
like Gary. He's
Mm.
going to be able to like, bring value into my life. And so I took the risk and I just fucking cold called him. You know what I mean? And he responded. And so, anybody listening, like, that's not going to happen every time, but if it happens 1 out of 100, it could change your life.
Yeah.
So if you're not taking action and doing it, you're missing the opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, I could also have thought, oh, Michael has so many followers and he's so busy. If I text him, he probably doesn't reply, but you did. And so often it's probably the same with girls or with like a superstar or whoever it is, right? We think so this person's so busy and will not have time, but maybe if you just try it, get in contact, right? Send him an email, send him Instagram message or whatever, and maybe you get lucky like you.
Exactly.
Cool. Final question. So this is the Stronger Than Yesterday podcast. I want to know from you two things that make you, well, become stronger than yesterday. Maybe one mentally and then one physically. I think you already worked out today, so that would be the physical part. What do you do today that helps you to become mentally stronger?
I have to bring it back to my morning routine. I really do. I believe that if you build a foundation, the way, and I'm sure you've heard me say this before, you can't build a structure and expect it to be able to stand the test of time on dirt. You can't, right? Like, you have to pour some sort of a firm concrete foundation in order, like, it doesn't mean that you can't build on dirt. You can definitely build on dirt. But if it rains and that dirt turns to mud, that
Mm.
structure that you're planning on, sort of walking through the day with is going to start to feel a little off balance, right? And so I really do believe mentally, physically, and spiritually, set yourself up every single morning with a routine that touches all three of those things, right?
Mm.
Mental health, physical health, spiritual health,
Mm.
so that is you pouring your concrete foundation in the morning so that you can truly build your day upon this foundation of
Yeah.
strength.
Yeah.
And, for me, it's prayer, meditation, movement, journaling, reading, danger, putting myself in hard situations with a hot, hot sauna and a cold, cold, cold plunge every day, and then rewarding myself with my family. And so I go through this journey every single morning for the most part, where it's like mindfulness and spirituality and physical and mental and pain, and then poof, reward of happiness with my kids and my wife. And
Awesome.
that's what I do every single day. And so there's not different things that I do every single day because I don't feel like, I think they say this thing, right? Like, if you do the same thing every single day and expect different results, you're crazy. But if you do the same thing every single day and you're really, really happy with the results, you're actually sane. And that keeps you grounded,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it. Dude, it was really, really good talking to you. You have no idea how much this gives me energy, how much it hypes me up. Really appreciate you taking your time and doing this with me. Where can people find you?
You can find me at Michael Chernow everywhere. I'm most active on Instagram and TikTok. I just share a lot of my story and a lot of my experiences and a lot of the lessons that I've learned in life through my social media for the most part. I've leaned away from a lot of the fitness stuff and have really been in leaning into a lot more of sharing the lessons that I've learned through life with the
Mm,
audience because
mm.
I feel like that's more valuable than telling people how to keep a six pack.
More unique as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Cool. I need to check you out on TikTok then. Yeah, dude, thanks a lot for doing this with me. Wish you the best day ever, really. You made my day. I want to let you know that you really did. For me, it's now almost time to sleep, but yeah, really, really happy. This will be a really good night's sleep.
Martin, man, thank you so much
Michael.
for having me, dude. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for the support. Thank you for hopping on board at Creatures of Habit, and thank you for doing what you do, and being an example for men in the world, and women, you know, to just be better versions of themselves.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Michael, all the
Later,
best.
brother.
Cheers.